Okay, so have you ever seen that sci-fi movie trope where
Yeah.
one mega corporation controls all the cool technology?
Oh, yeah.
Well, Elon Musk thinks we're heading right for that,
Okay.
but with AI, not flying cars or whatever.
Interesting.
He just filed this crazy lawsuit, and it could totally reshape who gets to build the future.
Wow. It's not quite like, a dystopian thriller or anything, but
Yeah.
the stakes, I mean, they're pretty high.
Yeah.
We're talking about like who controls access to, I mean, some of the most powerful
Right.
AI tools out there.
Yeah, and it's not even just about Musk's ego, or
Right.
or some petty Silicon Valley rivalry. If he wins this thing, it's
Yeah.
going to change the whole AI landscape.
Oh, wow.
It could affect the tools you use every day,
Big
from
deal.
chatbots to search engines. It's a big deal.
So, who's Musk going after?
So his target is OpenAI, the company behind ChatGPT, and their partner, who has very deep pockets, Microsoft.
Okay.
He's saying they're creating an AI monopoly,
Uh-huh.
and he's demanding, get this, $14 billion
Bro,
in damages.
that's a lot.
Yeah. So before we dive into all the legal drama,
Okay.
can you give our listeners some context?
Sure.
What is OpenAI? What are they known for?
OpenAI, I mean, they're like the rock stars of the AI world, right? They're behind some of the biggest breakthroughs
Yeah.
in, recent years. I mean, ChatGPT, which
Yeah.
can do everything from writing code to
Oh,
writing poetry.
Yeah, ChatGPT is a really big deal.
Yes.
I even used it to write a birthday toast for my grandma last month.
Oh, that's cool.
It was great.
Yeah, so ChatGPT is it's just the tip of the iceberg, right?
Yeah.
OpenAI they're developing these really sophisticated
Yeah.
algorithms for things like image recognition and natural
Yeah.
language processing. I mean, even robotics.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is where it gets interesting.
Okay.
Musk, he was one of OpenAI's co-founders
Oh.
back in 2015.
Okay.
But he's been publicly criticizing their direction
Yeah.
for years,
Interesting.
especially after Microsoft
Yeah.
stepped in with that massive investment.
Microsoft's involvement, I mean, that's really key here, right?
Okay.
They've put in almost $14 billion into OpenAI since 2019,
Really?
giving them a 49% stake
Wow.
in the company.
Okay.
I mean, that kind of financial backing, it's definitely,
All right.
accelerated OpenAI's growth.
Yeah.
But it's also, there's some concerns about control and influence
Oh, for sure.
with that much money.
So we've got Musk who helped create this
Right.
AI powerhouse.
Yeah.
And now he's battling against it.
Right.
And its super powerful ally, Microsoft.
Right.
I mean, that's a story worthy of a deep dive,
It really is.
But before we get to all the legal arguments and stuff, let's talk about monopolies.
Okay.
Why are they generally seen as bad, especially in a field that's as dynamic as AI?
Well, imagine, a world where just one company
Yeah.
controlled all of the internet search results.
Wow.
Or one corporation owned the only social media platform.
Oh, okay.
I mean, that's basically what a monopoly is.
Yeah.
Right? One entity just dictating all the terms,
Right.
controlling the prices, and just stifling any competition.
It's kind of like the bad guy in every superhero movie ever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Monopolies, they tend to stifle innovation.
Right.
Because there's really no incentive to improve
Right.
when you have no competition.
Right, yeah.
So in the long run, consumers, they just end up with fewer choices, higher prices,
Right.
and, potentially lower quality products and services.
And in the case of AI, which is still so early in
Right.
development,
Yeah.
a monopoly could be even more detrimental.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it could determine the whole
Yeah.
trajectory of this entire technology.
To understand, the consequences, we can look back at history, right?
Yeah.
Look at Standard Oil, back in the late 19th, early 20th century.
Yeah.
By controlling, I mean, almost all oil production
Yeah.
and refining in the U.S.
Ah.
They just dictated prices, squeezed out competitors,
Oh,
and it really, I mean, it hindered the growth
right.
of, the entire energy sector.
So Musk is basically saying that OpenAI and Microsoft
Yeah.
are trying to pull a Standard Oil,
Yeah.
but with AI.
That's the gist of his argument.
Okay.
Yeah, he's claiming that, OpenAI's with Microsoft's,
Right.
backing they're using these exclusive licensing agreements to lock out their competitors and just consolidate their power.
Okay, now this is where things get like really juicy.
Okay.
Can you give like our listeners a concrete example of how these exclusive licensing agreements would work in practice?
So imagine like there's this brilliant new AI startup, right?
Okay.
And they've developed this groundbreaking algorithm for, let's say, personalized education.
Okay.
Now, instead of being able to like offer this technology to all these different educational platforms, they're bound by this exclusive agreement with OpenAI.
Okay.
So they can only work with like Microsoft's platforms, effectively shutting them out of, I mean, a huge part of the market.
So they're basically forced to play by like OpenAI and Microsoft's rules. For their like groundbreaking technology just gets like shelved.
Yeah. I mean, that's the danger, right?
Wow.
And it goes beyond, you know, just these individual startups.
Okay.
Imagine this playing out, I mean, across different sectors, healthcare, finance, transportation. If all of the most powerful AI tools are controlled by just a few companies, it creates like a massive barrier to entry for, you know, any new innovators. And it could stifle the development of, I mean, entire industries.
This all sounds a bit like we're heading towards like an AI Hunger Games, you know? Like where there's just these few powerful players controlling the fate of everyone else.
Yeah, it's a dramatic comparison. But, I mean, it does highlight, you know, the potential consequences of, I mean, unchecked power in, you know, a field as big and transformative as AI.
Okay. And it wouldn't be a true Silicon Valley showdown without, you know, a giant pile of cash at stake.
Of course not.
So let's follow the money trail, shall we?
Yeah, let's do it.
So Microsoft is projected to like rake in over $10 billion annually from their AI ventures.
Wow.
And Musk wants a piece of that.
Of course he does.
He's claiming that OpenAI diverted like profits that should have gone to him and other early investors.
Yeah, I mean, he did help build this company from the ground up.
Exactly.
But it's not even just about, like, you know, getting back lost investments.
Right.
I mean, this lawsuit raises some fundamental questions about who benefits from this AI boom.
Right.
Is it just going to be, like, a handful of, you know, giant tech companies? Or do those benefits, like, trickle down to consumers and, you know, society as a whole?
Yeah, that's a debate that's just going to get like more and more intense as AI becomes more integrated into our lives.
Definitely.
It's almost like we're at this like crossroads where we're trying to decide what kind of future we want to build with this incredibly powerful technology.
And this lawsuit, I mean, whether Musk wins or loses, I mean, it's forcing us to actually confront these choices.
For sure.
It's a reminder that, you know, the development of AI, it's not just a technological challenge. It's a societal challenge.
Right. And that's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
We're going to take a quick break. But when we come back, we'll explore the potential impact of this lawsuit on like AI regulation and like all the ethical considerations we need to be having as this technology keeps evolving.
For sure.
So stay tuned.
Sounds good.
You know, it's easy to get kind of caught up in like the personalities and like the legal back and forth. But this lawsuit really touches on something way bigger than just like Elon Musk versus OpenAI.
Or for sure.
Yeah.
This case has become like a lightning rod, you know, bringing attention to this whole issue of AI monopolies and how we regulate this crazy powerful technology.
Yeah. It's like Musk has like thrown this giant wrench into the gears of like AI industry, forcing everyone to stop and think, wait a minute, what are we building here?
Exactly, and the timing, I mean, it couldn't be more crucial. AI is evolving so fast, and the decisions we make, I mean, now we're going to have like a ripple effect for years to come.
So let's talk solutions.
Okay.
Like, what can we actually do to prevent AI monopolies from gaining too much control?
Well, I mean, there are a few approaches that are being, you know, considered globally. The European Union. They're kind of leading the charge with their AI Act.
Okay, and what's that?
It it basically proposes like a risk-based system.
Okay.
So they categorize AI applications based on their potential impact on society. So like the higher risk applications, things used in healthcare, law enforcement, they would face, much stricter regulations.
Okay, so basically like the riskier the AI, the stricter the rules.
Exactly. The goal is to make sure that that AI is developed and deployed responsibly with safeguards in place, to protect people's rights and prevent harm.
That sounds like a pretty comprehensive approach.
Yeah, it is.
How does that compare to what's happening like in the U.S.?
Well, the U.S. is, historically taken a more hands-off approach to tech regulation. They favor innovation over strict rules.
Yeah.
But that's starting to change.
Okay.
As lawmakers are kind of grappling with all the potential implications of AI.
So are we likely to see like an AI Bill of Rights or something?
Oh, potentially, yeah.
In the U.S.?
There is growing like bipartisan support for creating, clear guidelines for AI development.
Okay.
Especially, when it comes to, things like bias, transparency, accountability.
What's interesting is that Musk himself has like been a big advocate for AI regulation even before this lawsuit.
Back in 2017, he even called for like proactive regulation.
Okay.
Arguing that AI poses a greater risk to humanity than nuclear weapons.
Okay, that's a pretty stark warning.
Yeah.
Coming from someone who's like literally building AI-powered robots.
It is. And it really highlights, the complexity of this issue.
Yeah.
Even those at the forefront, of AI development.
Yeah.
They recognize the potential dangers.
Right.
If this technology isn't, managed carefully.
Yeah. Now, some people might argue that like too much regulation could stifle innovation and slow down the progress of like AI development.
Yeah, it's a valid concern.
What do you think about that?
The key is, finding that right balance between fostering innovation, but also, protecting the public.
Right.
We need regulations that are, flexible enough to adapt to this crazy fast evolution of AI, but also ensuring, that development is ethical and responsible.
So it's about like setting some ground rules, but not like putting AI in a straitjacket.
Exactly. It's like, raising a child. You want to nurture their creativity and potential, but you also have to set, clear boundaries.
Right.
Teach them, right from wrong.
That's a great analogy.
Thanks.
And speaking of like nurturing potential, let's talk about AI's impact on jobs. Like one of the biggest fears is that robots are just going to take over the world and leave millions of people unemployed.
It's a valid concern. There's no doubt that AI is going to, automate some tasks.
Yeah.
And even, entire job roles.
Right.
Especially in fields like manufacturing, transportation, customer service.
But it's important to remember that this isn't like a new thing.
Like has happened before.
Yeah, technology has always like disrupted the job market.
Exactly.
Think about like the Industrial Revolution or the rise of the internet.
Exactly. New technologies, they often lead to job displacement in the short term.
Right.
But they also create, new opportunities and entire industries in the long run.
Right.
Think about all the jobs that exist today.
Right.
That didn't even exist, a decade ago.
Yeah.
App developers, social media managers, data scientists.
So instead of like fearing the robot apocalypse, maybe we should be focusing on like how to adapt and prepare for a future where AI is just like a normal part of the workforce.
Precisely. We need to be focusing on reskilling and upskilling our workforce. Equipping people with the knowledge and abilities to thrive in an AI-powered world.
So what kind of like skills are we talking about?
Yeah, good question.
What's going to make humans like indispensable in an age of intelligent machines?
Well, it's not about competing with AI
Right.
in terms of, like raw processing power or data crunching.
Okay.
It's about focusing on, those uniquely human qualities that AI can't replicate.
Okay, like what?
Creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, empathy, communication, the ability to, navigate complex social situations.
So instead of humans versus machines, it's more like humans plus machines.
Exactly.
Finding ways to collaborate and leverage each other's strengths.
That's the ideal scenario.
Right.
I mean, think about how AI can, assist doctors in making more accurate diagnoses. Or how AI can help teachers personalize education for each student.
The key is to see AI as like a powerful tool that can augment our capabilities, not replace us.
Right.
I'm starting to see a pattern here.
Yeah.
It's all about finding the right balance.
It is.
Balancing innovation with regulation, automation with human ingenuity.
Right.
It's like walking a tightrope with the future of humanity.
Literally hanging in the balance.
It is a balancing act for sure.
Yeah.
And it requires, careful consideration, open dialogue, and a willingness to, adapt to this rapidly changing landscape.
This is a lot to process.
Yeah.
Even for someone like me who geeks out on this stuff.
Right.
It feels like we've only scratched the surface of this AI iceberg.
We have. And this conversation is just getting started.
But before we dive even deeper, let's take a second
to reflect on what we've learned so far. So we've been talking about this lawsuit from Elon Musk against OpenAI and Microsoft. And it's pretty clear that this case is about way more than just one, disgruntled billionaire.
It really is. Yeah. I mean, this is a pivotal moment for the entire AI industry.
Right.
I mean, Musk's claims they've really, sparked this huge debate about who controls this technology and what safeguards we need to put in place.
And the timing. I mean, it's perfect for this conversation.
It is.
AI is so rapidly becoming part of our lives that the choices we make now, the regulations, the ethical considerations, they're going to have a huge impact on the future.
Absolutely. Think of it this way. We are at the very beginning of the AI revolution. It's like the early days of the internet.
Yeah.
Back then, I mean, nobody could have predicted how much the internet would change the world.
Totally.
AI has that same transformative power, I mean, for better or worse.
So let's bring it all back to you, the listener.
Martin.
You've been with us on this deep dive. We've explored the legal battle, the monopolies, the regulation, the ethical dilemmas.
All of it.
The impact on jobs. What are, the key takeaways that you should be thinking about?
Well, first, I think this case, it highlights the importance of critical thinking when it comes to AI.
Okay.
Don't just, buy into the hype or the fear-mongering.
Right.
Dig a little deeper, question the narratives and form the own informed opinions.
Exactly. AI isn't some
magic force that's going to solve all our problems.
Right.
It's not going to lead to, a robot uprising.
No.
It's a tool. Any tool that can be used for good or for bad.
Right.
It's up to us to decide how we use this power.
Absolutely. And that requires, understanding, I mean, both the potential risks and the benefits. We talked about the dangers of monopolies, the need for ethical guidelines and preparing for the changing job market.
Right.
These are complex issues.
Right.
We need to think about them carefully.
And don't forget the global perspective.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how AI is regulated and developed in one country, it's going to affect other countries too.
Absolutely.
This is a conversation that needs to happen on a global scale.
It does. It needs to involve governments and industry leaders, researchers, ethicists.
Right.
everyday people.
It's a collaborative effort. I mean, the future of AI, that's not something that's going to be decided, in a boardroom or a courtroom.
Right.
It's going to be shaped by the choices we make, the conversations we have, and the actions we take.
So as we wrap up this deep dive,
Okay.
we want to leave you with a final thought.
Okay, I like it.
If you could ask Elon Musk one question about this lawsuit, what would it be?
That is a great question.
What insights would you hope to gain?
Yeah. And who knows, maybe your question will spark the next big breakthrough in AI.
Right. Or maybe it'll just, lead you down another rabbit hole of knowledge.
Right.
But keep exploring,
Yeah.
Keep questioning, keep learning.
That's what the deep dive
That's what we do.
is all about.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.